Oi, lads.
Okay, red cards. All will be one. 5 mana red enchantment. Okay, before I read this, hit rate on 5 mana red enchantments that are mythics, 0.1%. So it's not looking good already. Whenever you put one or more counters on a permanent or player, all will be one deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. Bad. Terrible. Capricious Hellraiser. 6 mana, 4/4 flyer, or 3 mana if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. When it ETBs, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard, choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them and copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its cost. To me, this card seems great. 2 of in a spell-heavy deck. Very nice. Like an Is It Spells deck or a mono-red burn deck or something. What do you need to play? You need to play a lot of non-creatures, and they have to go to the graveyard. So you need to play instants and sorceries. That's basically it. That's very possible. Give me this. Give me 2 of these in mono red burn. Give me 2 of these in Is It Spells, and I'm chilling. Maybe even 3 copies. This is one of the cards I'm most excited to play with. I cannot wait to try it out. Solphim, Mayhem Dominus, 4 mana, 5/4. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. It's giving me those Torbrand vibes. And then for 1, 2, or 3, you discard 2 cards to get the indestructible counter on this one. It's another burn card, huh? Non-combat damage. It's also, but it's not. You can't really play it in the same deck as the Hellraiser though, which is weird. So I think if you're looking at mono red burn, it's probably Hellraiser or Solphim. And surely it's got to be the Hellraiser, right? It seems too hard to play them both in the same deck, and they both kind of want to be in the same deck. The Solphim is just a little bit harder to make it work. You need to pay 4 to cast it. You need to pay 1 to and discard 2 cards to keep it alive. And then you've got to still have like some spells left over to take advantage of the double damage. Hellraiser, I would say Hellraiser plays better with creatures than Solphim does, even though they both play pretty badly with creatures. The Hellraiser is still decent, right? What I mean is you can play more creatures in a Hellraiser deck than you can in a Solphim deck. It's also like burn spells are pretty cheap. Like they cost 1, they cost 2, it's etc. It's so hard to get to 4 mana. It's like how do you do something on turn 1? You play land 1-drop turn 1. That's 2 cards gone. Land, spend 2 mana on turn 2. That's another 2 cards gone. Land, spend 3 mana on turn 3, probably using 2 different cards. On turn 3, that's another 3 cards gone. And then you've got to play a 4th land and your Solphim, that's another 2 cards. And you've got to have 2 cards in hand available to discard in case you need to do indestructible in the next turn. And on top of those 2 cards that you've still got in your hand to discard, then you need to have more cards more alternative cards to use to gain some value from your double non-combat damage. Like, both of these cards seem good. I would be much more hype about Solphim if the Hellraiser didn't exist. The Hellraiser just seems... They're both trying to do this... They're both trying to be the biggest card in the same deck. And the Hellraiser is just so much easier to use. So, I'm a Hellraiser fan. I'm not gonna claim anyone's a clown if they're a Solphim fan, but I'm hashtag Hellraiser gang. But I do not think you can be a member of both gangs. That's the point I'm trying to make. Choose a team. You can't be both. Dragonwing Glider. 5 mana, 4/4 flying haste, and you can re-equip for 5 later on. So it's Goldspan Dragon that doesn't make treasures, but you can give it other creatures flying and haste. Not legendary at least, but just so weak for 5 mana, man. Terrible. Unbelievably strong limited card though. Koth, Fire of Resistance. 4 mana, search your library for a basic, or +2 loyalty to search your library for a basic mountain, put it in your hand. -3, Damage to creature equal to number of mountains, and -7. Deal 4 to any target every time you play a mountain. To me, this seems gas. I think this is very good. I know that most people, their first instincts are going to be, my mono red deck doesn't want to draw a mountain. I don't want to draw lands. I hate lands. No, you don't. Lands are incredible. Lands are the best card in your deck. Your 5th land in mono red is really good. Now your Bloodthirsty Adversaries can now recurse spells. You're now popping off. Maybe you can cast your prototype guy. Maybe you're getting in with a lot of 5 mana, make 3 2/2s. Like, having 5 lands opens you up. Maybe now you've got enough mana to attack with your Mishra's Foundry and do something else with your turn, you know. Maybe you play Fable in this deck and fetching the mountain is just another thing to loot round, and you can turn it into a non-land at some point anyway. +2 draw a card is gas. I'm thinking about, again, I'm not sure it goes in the same deck as either the Hellraiser or the Solphim, so I'm thinking like kind of Burny type deck for the Hellraiser, and maybe Koth with either Jaya or maybe Raiju in a more creature-y mono red deck. But I do think he's good though. Red Sun's Twilight. Destroy X target artifacts. If it's 5 or more, make a copy, exile them. Terrible. Rook, Hex, Gold, Nabber. Well, actually, maybe a reasonable sideboard card, but you would think it's reasonable against Anvil, but it's actually not that reasonable, because other than the Anvils, they honestly don't play that many artifacts, at least ones that you would want to use one of your cards to destroy, right? You're not going to use your Twilight to... You're not going to sideboard in Twilight just to kill their blood tokens. You're not going to sideboard in Twilight to kill their Mishra's research desk that they're just going to crack in response. You're not going to do it to kill their synthesizer or whatever. Brotherhood's End also already exists that just rolls all those cards anyway. Rook, Hex, Gold, Nabber. 3 mana 2/2 Trample Haste when an equipped creature by Skip. Slowbad Iron Goblin. 3 mana 3/3 sack an artifact, add amount of red equal to its mana value. Spend it to cast artifacts or activate artifacts. Add any amount of red is a spooky bit of text, but I just don't really see how you make this do anything too crazy. It's a 3-drop, it's got no ETB, it needs to live for a turn. I don't see it. Urabrask's Forge. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on the forge, create an X1 token with trample and haste, where X is number of oil counters. Beginning of combat. So you do get a creature on the first turn. 3 mana, 1/1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1, etc, etc. Seems like a sideboard card, but that's... Seems like a sideboard card can often be a statement made about a card that is simply just bad and that you want to be good. So this might be bad and I just want it to be good. Not every card that takes 10 turns to get going is a good sideboard card in grindy matchups. But honestly, this could be fine. It's just, there's no way you cannot play it main deck. Not possible. So you would be playing it sideboard, and it means you would be choosing, your opponent's playing a kind of slow deck, and you're choosing to play this. You're choosing to bring this in from the sideboard, rather than a Planeswalker, like rather than Chandra, rather than Jaya, rather than even Koth. There are a ton of red value generating cards that are all unplayable main deck that can be played from the sideboard. This is just another one of them. I don't think it's like... I don't see how it's any more special than any of the others. It seems good enough to warrant a try. I will try it. I'm not particularly hyped about it though. Vindictive Flamestoker. 1 mana 1/2. When you cast a non-creature, put an oil counter on the Flamestoker. For 7, discard your hand, draw 4, 1 less for each oil counter. So Bowmaid, it doesn't have to attack, huh? Draws cards slower, but also is able to keep going for a bit longer. Seems pretty good. You've got the Spell Dancer that we saw in blue. Probably better than the Spell Dancer, actually. Draw 4, like, drawing 4 cards, man. That is a lot of cards. And again, much like the Spell Dancer, that means that this creature has to be removed by your opponent. You're not actually going to get to draw 4 cards very often, but The benefit of this card is that its text is so damn strong that this creature is going to die. You're never going to get to draw 4 cards, but it does mean that now your Iconoclast is going to live for longer. Your Balmor is going to live for longer. Your Spelldance is going to live for longer. Your Swiftspear is going to live for longer because your opponent must kill this creature. So that's the payoff. The payoff is not draw 4 cards. The payoff is make a couple of extra tokens with your Iconoclast, that's a good deal for 1 mana. So this card seems great. Awaken the Sleeper, 4 mana, gain control until end of turn, untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If it's equipped, you may destroy all equipment. Sleeper. Cacophony Scamp. When it deals combat damage to a player, sack it. If you do proliferate, when it dies, deal 1 damage equal to its power to any target. There's always a red creature, like there's always a 1 mana 1/1 when it dies, deal damage to any target. They're always okay, they're never incredible. I'm sure someone will use this. Churning red, I don't think proliferate when you sack is particularly different to any of the other versions enough that it would make it way more powerful than any of the previous ones have ever been. Churning Reservoir. 1 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on a non-token artifact or on a different non-token artifact or creature. And for 2, an attack, create a 1/1 goblin creature token. Activate only if an oil counter was removed from a permanent you controlled this turn, or a permanent with an oil counter on it was put into a graveyard this turn. So it's not sorcery speed, you can do it on opponent's turn. So what the hell does this thing even do? A 1 mana artifact, and then if you're playing Oil Tribal, you can make a 1/1 for 2 every couple of turns. That's absolutely terrible. Exuberant Fuseling. 1 mana 0/1 trample. Gets +1/+0 for each oil counter on it. When it enters the battlefield or whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on the Fuseling. So it's a 1 mana 1/1. And every time a creature or artifact is put into the graveyard, it grows. Well, this thing seems gas, no? You need 1 other thing to die for it to be a normal 1-drop, and if 2 other things die, you've got a broken 1-drop? That seems great. Normally, like with these stupid cards like this, you need like 3 creatures to die before it does anything, but this one only needs 1 creature to die before it's just a normal 1 mana card. And any more than that is a nice bonus. So this seems insanely good. Furnace Punisher. 3 mana, 3/3 menace. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, deal 1 damage to that player unless they control 2 or more basic lands. 3 mana, 3/3 menace. Each player's upkeep, they take 2 unless they control 2 or more basics. Do you know what other card says deal 2 damage in someone's upkeep, chat? Sheoldred. So this is red Sheoldred. $70 uncommon? I think this is good, man. Surely good. Not a main deckable card, but if your opponent's playing like 3-color random deck, like why wouldn't you use this? And like bring it in from the sideboard. These red cards are actually pretty good, guys. I think red is like best color so far by a lot. Gleeful Demolition. 1 mana sorcery, destroy target artifact. If you control that artifact, create 3 1/1s. What? I mean, this card is insane in a 500 card Anvil deck. Don't think you can find any slots for this in a 60 card Anvil deck. But maybe you can. It's a shame that the actual tokens that you get are not themselves artifacts. They're Phyrexian goblins. But come on, this has to be good. It's main deckable artifact removal, right? For red on top of a braid. Destroy your own treasures, make some tokens, destroy your own... Well, like, what other artifacts are there, though? It can take a little bit of a while to... If you're using it on your own stuff, it can take a bit of time to find a window to actually use this, so it could get stuck in your hand a little bit, but, I mean, it is... Destroy an artifact or 3/3 of stats for 1 mana. This is good. It'll be interesting to see how many copies of this make it into decks, but there's no shot this card sees no play. How much it sees, there's plenty of scope. We'll wait and see. Hex Gold Halberd, 2 mana, 2/2, first strike and trample on your turn, equip 3. Nope. Sprinter, 3 mana, 3/2, 2 oil counters on ETB. Beginning of end step, return it to its owner's hand unless you remove 2 oil counters from it. 3 mana Ronin seems bad, because 1 mana Ronin is not even that good. Nahiri's Sacrifice, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature with mana value X. Deal X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. A self 2 for 1 for 2 mana. That is very bad. Or self 1 for 2, I suppose. Compare this card to the black one, huh? Deadly Dispute. Come on. Oxida Finisher. Affinity for equipment. I see the word equipment, I skip. Rebel Salvo. I skip. Resistance Skywarden. 5 mana, 5/5 Menace Reach. Anointer. 4 mana, 4/2. ETB deal X damage to any target where X is number of permanents you control with oil counters on them. I mean, that's a payoff for oil tribal, yeah, but like, I don't see why you would play oil counter tribal, because you're locking yourself into one set. And you're going to be playing against opponents who are using cards from multiple sets. It is a path to death. Axiom Engraver. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter, loot. Alright, we're down to the commons, so let's have a quick scan, but if we don't see anything, we don't see anything. Yo, what is this? +3/+1 until end of turn. And impulse a card? That's pretty good. First good combat trick in the history of Magic. Hello? I mean, that seems great. Turn 1 Swifty, turn 2 this, hit them for 5, draw a card. But if you get to hit the opponent in the face with the creature that you buff, this is a lightning strike, draw a card. I'm not going to hate it. I'm not going to hate on that. We're going to try this for sure. I don't think I've ever played a combat trick in Constructed before. But we trying this. Chimney Rabble. Nope. 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 1 mana, deal 2. If the creature has toxic, deal 4. Nope. Any other playable commons? Not really. Okay. Very interesting. I would say a decent number of playable red cards. Best colors so far. Crescendo, the Demolition, the Punisher, the Fuseling, the Flamestoker, the Koth, and the Hellraiser or the Solphim. Damn. Damn. Okay. I would call that red. First color to get a thumbs up. Nice. Ecuador. Ecuador.